Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is Alan. We recently did a video about why the color white is used in films to symbolize evil, especially in sci-fi films. Today we'll continue our discussion about colors, or in this case shadows, and their symbolic meaning in films. We'll be talking about why black is oftentimes used to symbolize evil characters. Before I start this video, it does pain me to say that in our last video we had a lot of stupid race-based comments. There are comments that were saying that basically white people are responsible for every bad thing that's happened in humanity. There are other people saying that white people are better than everyone, which is why white is the color of purity, and garbage like that. The thing is this, race isn't even a thing. It doesn't exist. We're all just one race, the human race. To further that point, we're not even different colors. As a person who does a lot of video editing and color correction, I've realized that we're all the same skin color. No matter if you're black, white, or somewhere in between. What makes us different is actually the shade of our skin, whether it's darker or lighter. We're all the same freaking color. But you know who isn't the same color? Those stupid aliens from Avatar. If you want to hate something, direct it towards those bestiality-loving blue monkeys. Hashtag humanity first. Now to the color black. From the earliest days of black and white cinema, the villains have always dressed in black, whether it's Nosferatu, Reverend Harry Powell, or immortal vampire and southern gentleman Nicolas Cage. During this era, there was no color in film. What you had instead were different shades in between pure white and pure black. Naturally, most villains of this era were darker. That's because no matter what culture you're from, black symbolizes mystery and the unknown. It's something we learn from birth. All newborns are inherently afraid of the dark because they're stupid. Okay, maybe not. It's actually an evolutionary trait. We are extremely dependent on our vision as a species, and darkness usually appears on surfaces that reflect little or no light. When we see no light, we're blinded and left vulnerable. Also, humans are not nocturnal. Well, at least most of us aren't. And our ancestors knew when the sun set it was time to find shelter, because that was the time dangerous predators like lions and vampire Nick Cage were most active. So why do darker colors sometimes trigger automatic fear responses in our brain? Well, that's because we never know what's hiding in the shadows. Which is also why I always sleep with a Hulk nightlight on. Nothing says stay away from me, you creepy immortal vampire treasure hunter, like a glowing image of the Hulk about to burst through the wall. As film advanced onto color, a plethora of new options became available, but black and darker colors were still oftentimes used to symbolize villains in films, like the Wicked Witch of the West in Voldemort 2, Hans Gruber and Agent Smith, and basically every Disney villain. With so many different colors available, why did filmmakers keep on going back to black to portray villains? Black as a color represents power. Nothing is scarier than a villain who is stronger and capable of subjecting weaker individuals to their will. And power can come in the form of space magic, like Emperor Palpatine, or in the form of money, like vampire arms dealer Nicolas Cage. Black also symbolizes death and mourning in many cultures, which is why you get characters like the Grim Reaper, Scream, and vampire contract killer Nicolas Cage. Black symbolizes the occult in the Bible. Nothing is more terrifying than black magic and unknown powers like the devil in Ghost Rider, the only man who can claim to be more powerful than motorcycle riding stunt vampire Nicolas Cage. Black also symbolizes depression and fear, like the house of agoraphobic vampire conman Nick Cage or Travis Bickle. Black also represents elegance, like Cruella de Vil, who uses the trait in order to hide her nasty habit of skinning puppies. And lastly, black is the complete opposite of white. It's a contrast from the traditional good guy color and allows audiences to visually distinguish the difference between good and evil in a much clearer way. But black is so stereotypically used as bad guys, now filmmakers are flipping the tables around and using white as well, which is kind of what we talked about in our last film, why sci-fi films use white to portray evil characters. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Remember, black and white aren't colors that should define us, they're just different shades on the same color vector. At the end of the day, we're all born afraid of the dark, and woman-punching bear-suit-wearing vampire Nicolas Cage. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Alan, reminding you that life is a movie, and you are the protagonist.